Hey everybody, it's Mallory and welcome to episode 11 of The Stare Down. This episode is called The M Cubed Network, and oh my god, do I have an episode for you. So, after the music plays, we're going to jump right into my guests this week. You'll find out their names. I can't wait. So if you're ready, you know the drill. Sit back, relax, grab a drink or two, and it's time to listen to The Stare Down. Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 11 of The Stare Down, and I am Mallory, your host. But today, I've got a fun surprise. I have Meagan and another Mallory. So if you thought the world was full of just one, and that's all we needed, nope, sorry, got another one for you. So, hey Meagan, hey Mallory, how are y'all?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? This is the voice of Meagan, and
I'm Mallory. I'm the other voice.
Awesome. So, Meagan and Mallory, how do y'all know each other?
so we are sisters. We're about 20 months apart. A lot of people confuse us for twins. We live together. We live together in Miami right now. So
Nice. That's awesome. And so what's kind of funny is before I got married and changed my maiden name to my middle name, my name was actually Mallory Meagan. So I kind of feel like this is like fate that this is supposed to happen. So
I love that. I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Cool. Well, then let's go ahead and kick it off. So just to kind of give listeners a little bit of background, Meagan and I met on a rooftop bar in Nashville last year after the Ole Miss Vanderbilt game and became like fast friends. Like I was like, yes, this girl can keep up with me with sports and I love it. And we also had a really fun time making fun of the really, really drunk girls. So it was kind of awesome. But so what's both of your favorite sports? Because I think Meagan, I know yours, but Mallory, I don't know yours.
Yes. So I love football. I love football. I've always loved football. We've had season tickets for Ole Miss for a while in college, and we try to go to different stadiums for NFL. So I'm more of a football girly, but Mallory,
I'm definitely baseball. As weird as that is, and everybody what shade they want to throw on baseball. Baseball is my favorite. So.
No, I love that because like I think baseball is such like a hidden gem, and I like there's a part of me that doesn't want everybody to love it as much as I do, so I can kind of keep it to myself. But no, I'm right there with you. So I like the fact that we've got kind of the same feel. So, all right. So Mallory, you said you guys go to Ole Miss football games. Is that your favorite sports team, or is that just Meagan's?
Well, I love Ole Miss football too. So I like Ole Miss. So like when it comes to like college football, I like Ole Miss and LSU because I went to Ole Miss and LSU.
Okay. So how was that like 2 weeks ago? Who did you cheer for?
Well, I'm the person everyone hates because I will wear both schools.
Oh, nice.
So I wore a tiger print top with red pants. And so I always split it half and half. I'll do either a top or a bottom, one being Ole Miss and one LSU.
I love that. I love that. You're like Mama Kelsey, but of like the college football world.
Yes.
Yes. I get a lot. I don't know though. I get a lot of aggressive fans sometimes at both places telling me I'm confused.
They just don't know any better. Bless their hearts.
Right.
So, Meagan,
Yes.
what's your favorite pro team? Because you said you like NFL stuff too.
So, okay, so we're originally from Mississippi. And as everyone knows, Mississippi has no pro team of anything. So we either have the choices of, the Atlanta or New Orleans. I do not like either. So what I like to tell people is I am a fan of players. DK Metcalf, so I'm always going to root for him. Seahawks, always going to root for AJ Brown, so definitely Eagles. But I would say out of all the teams, probably the Buffalo Bills, that also has Dawson Knox on it. So, I would probably say the Bills, but I'm always going to root for my Ole Miss boys. So
You better say the Bills.
I did.
Okay, so Mallory, does that mean you're a Bills fan then?
I'm a diehard Bills fan. I love Bills. They're my favorite. So yes, that's why I drag her to all the games, and she likes them too. She loves all the players, and people ask her. She's like, "Well, my brother and my sister are." I'm like, Meagan, no.
I've been to so many games of just the Buffalo Bills that Mallory's like, I think you're a certified Bills fan at this point, and I'm like, I guess you're right, but like, I'm just not one of those that like. If I'm not like fully in, I don't want to be that person to be like, I'm just going to bandwagon. It's not really a bandwagon either. It's just like, I'm just like so like paranoid about that. I don't know if other people feel that way, but I'm just like, I don't want to bandwagon anyone's team, but I do like
That's funny. No, that's funny. So I think that's probably like that whole, like growing up in the South, like especially living in Alabama, like I've seen so many bandwagon Alabama and Auburn fans that I'm like, I get it. Like I hesitate to say anything like that. And like, I've always loved the New York Giants because I love Lawrence Taylor growing up, but like they're awful right now. Like they're so bad. And I'm like, I'm not paying as much attention to them as I do like Ole Miss, obviously. But no, I like to like, I follow AJ in my fantasy team. I try and make sure I draft as many Ole Miss players as possible. And actually I had someone this week try and propose a trade for me to give up AJ for like two other guys. I was like, nope, sorry. You could offer me your entire team and it's not happening. Like AJ's staying on my team. I feel you on that one.
That's Meagan. We know when we draft, we got to leave all the Ole Miss guys alone because she would throw a fit if she didn't get them.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, no, it was kind of the same way too, like when Peyton and Eli were playing, like Peyton and Eli, I drafted them both, like rounds 1 and 2 done. Like if anybody touched them, it was like hell to pay.
Oh yeah. Same here.
Awesome. Well, before we get totally down the football road, Mallory, I kind of want to go back to your baseball love for a little bit. So we are in the middle of the baseball playoffs right now, and we've got 4 teams left. I don't know that anyone would have predicted that these were going to be the 4 teams left. I think that whoever wins the Texas series between the Rangers and the Astros, I think they're going to end up taking it. Personally, I think it's going to end up being the Astros. Maybe that is because I love Greg Kessinger and there's that Ole Miss connection, but I think they've got it. But what do you think? Like, what have you kind of seen and who do you think is going to take it?
Well, I think it'll probably, what I'm hoping for is a rematch of last year. I would love for the Phillies Astros again. I think it'd be really good, a really great series again. I'm hoping the Phillies get it, but realistically, it'll probably be the Astros again.
No, I think you make a good point. I think like right now, those 2 teams are probably the hottest. I think the Astros,
they're super hot. Yeah, there's something magical about the Phillies in the Red October. Like it's just like it's something like that. Something just clicks for them, and they're such a fun team to watch.
Oh yeah, and like I think, you look at the Rangers and the Astros both, and I don't think either of them were expected to kind of make it to this point. I know everyone kind of thought the Orioles, like maybe this was their season, but I think them having the bye from the wild card and having an entire week off, I think that ended up hurting them. But I kind of feel like the Astros slid in a little bit more under the radar, but I think they're just kind of that team. They remind me a lot. Well, them and the Phillies both actually remind me a lot of like when Ole Miss went and won the College World Series. Like they were kind of like the last thought of anybody. And then it was like, oh crap, they both got hot. So I think you've got some good points on that. And I think we could probably see that.
It's all about when you get hot too. Like that's with Ole Miss. Like when we won, it was just like we were so terrible, and then all this stuff, like not terrible, but we weren't just like in anybody's mindset. And then
we were close to terrible.
We were close.
Yeah, we were pretty close.
But I mean, we just kind of like it's all in baseball. It's all about when you hit the stride of going up, and I think the Phillies.
They got the momentum, but also it's not going to be easy getting through the Diamondbacks.
That's true.
The Diamondbacks got the momentum too. They're another one that you're kind of like, because they're going to be a tough team to beat as well. So
and there's the travel. And that's the travel too, because like you're going basically from like East Coast to West Coast there. Like that's a huge gap. Whereas like
that's a great point.
Right.
Like from Dallas to Houston, okay, like maybe a 45-minute flight, like that's easy.
Right.
That's a great
traveling's going to be a big part of that as well. Oh, I didn't even think about traveling. That's a solid point.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the thing too that hurt the Braves. I mean, I think everybody thought the Braves were going to go into Philly and just take it, but I I didn't. Like the Braves
No.
to me, they fizzled a little bit there at the end. And I kind of wondered if traveling up there and going into like, because I think it was kind of rainy and like
Yeah.
way
The different
cooler up in
weather, the
Philly.
weather.
Yeah, that's huge. So,
Yeah.
but Philly, I mean, Philly's kind of used to it though. This isn't their first go round.
Right.
So,
And also Philly, like going back with the Braves, going into Philly,
I was about to say.
a Philly
Ooh.
game and the way that crowd is and whatnot would be just like because they're so intense.
They're intense. I lived with a bunch of Philadelphia people in law school.
Tense.
Ooh, they are like, they will live and die by their sports
Like,
teams. And like,
that's
I mean,
awesome. They're-
respect.
Yeah.
Like, I
yeah, good for
about
them.
Ole Miss, but like they like, I would hate to go in that environment.
Yeah.
Like that would be a tough environment.
No, I think that's right. And like kind of one of the things too that I always think of is Eli on the Manning cast, like talking about the little boy that like shot him the double bird. I'm like, I kind of feel like that's just Philly, but I feel like if you just, if you're an opposing fan, even if you don't say anything, they're just going to yell at you. Like they're just going to be like that intense. Like they're kind of almost a little bit like the LSU of the baseball and NFL world. I kind of get that feeling from them.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could honestly see that. That's a good point too.
And that's probably why I enjoy.
That is probably why she likes
I
it.
enjoy those passionate, like aggressive type fans. I think they're hilarious. I think they're fun to be around. I'm like, yes, get aggressive.
And don't get her wrong. We're very aggressive, not aggressive, but we have been in very hostile environments.
Yeah.
Like in
and been the opposing side.
been the opposing side. And like as a fandom, like it's very difficult going in as fans as well, because like players, they can kind of get out of there. Fans got to stick around and kind of sit through it, And so like Mallory is the target of majority of fan hatred a lot of the times. Like most people don't mess with me, but
Yeah, there's something
about Mallory that they will just walk up and just like baseball, football, it doesn't matter. Like,
it must be something with the name, because my mom can attest to this as well. Like last year at Arkansas, like we were sitting in the Ole Miss section and like I was just cheering for us. I wasn't saying anything bad about.
yeah,
That's my thing. I'm not going to say anything bad about any opposing team. And this dude just like started railing in on me and started talking crap about our players. And I just kind of had enough, but it was just like, I've just had it. But like, if my husband's around, they won't say shit. But it's like, if it's just me, I'm like fair game. And I'm like, how? Like, what is wrong with me?
No,
tell her about
I've been attacked by Arkansas people. I was at the Super Regional, the Ole Miss Arkansas.
Oh,
what year was that?
Was it 19?
I can't remember what year it was.
Was it 21? Because we lost there in 21 in the soup. No, we lost it to Arizona. It was 19.
It was
19. Yeah.
19. So I was there, and that's when we won one, lost one. It was that third game I was there. And we were getting killed. I think it was really bad. It was like really, really bad. So we got up to leave at like 7th inning, because it was like, I think they were in the teens. Like it was like it was a lot to a
That was when we pulled in our closer in the third inning. Like it was real bad.
Yeah, it was not a fun time. I got up to leave, and it was me, my brother, and one of our friends, and I had an old man grab my arm and say, "Thanks for visiting. Try again next year."
What?
And
he laid hands on you?
Yeah. And I was like, at the time, I was like, kind of like, I didn't know, and I didn't have a reaction. I was like, noted. All right, if someone said anything. And that time, I was triggered, so I was like mad. He caught me off guard. Okay, I'm fine. You got that one. So we're leaving again, and some other man walks up to me and goes, "Way to go!" He said, "What did he say?" He said something like, "Way to go, Ole Miss," or something like that. And he goes, "Have fun in Omaha," or something. And I turned around and I said, "Try to not choke like you did last year."
Oh,
yeah.
And then he just stared at me and just had his mouth open. I was like, "Yes, you guys caught me off guard once. It was not going to happen,
but not again."
Time. I was like, "It will not happen." But no, they like Arkansas people are not very nice. I have learned their fans. I complained to the lady when I was leaving the stadium. I was like, "Your fans were mean to me," and she was like, "I am so sorry."
They were actually always great.
The people that like let you in the stadium and whatnot, they were sweet.
Yeah.
Like, "I'm so sorry they were mean." I was like, "But no, your fans are kind of aggressive towards me."
Oh, and like what's so sad is like I've met a lot of great people that are Arkansas fans that are the exact opposite of that. But I mean, it's true anywhere you go, you're always going to have those fans, which I think kind of brings me up to my next point. So one of the reasons I wanted to have y'all on is because y'all, I mean, I think I don't stay at home. No, y'all put me to shame. Like, y'all are always on the go. So, like, I want to kind of talk about some of your trips. So, like,
Yeah.
my understanding is like y'all have got baseball, obviously, college and pro, college football, NFL. You know, you've been all over the place. So, let's start with pro baseball. How about that? So,
Okay.
what's kind of your dream place that you want to go that you haven't been, and what's your favorite that you've been to so far?
Okay, I'm going to answer this first because I haven't been to many. Mallory will tell you she is on the hunt to get to all of them.
Okay.
I think my favorite would have to be Boston. I just don't think you can beat that atmosphere. We've gone to, like, when it's Boston versus New York, and like I just think
Ooh.
that like that was just amazing. I lived in Chicago for about 4.5 5 years. I loved Wrigley. I think you can't beat Wrigley in regards to like the history. But I actually enjoy the White Sox better. I enjoy the stadium
Oh.
better. I enjoy the atmosphere. Getting to it can be a little sketchy, but it was a really, really great city for baseball. So I will always love Chicago. So I would have to say
Okay.
those three. So
Nice. Mallory.
So I'm at number 18.
Okay.
And so recently I actually, the month of September, I think I went to 3 different stadiums and like, which was insane. I guess it was the end of August. I went to New York City, went to the Mets, and then like a week and a half later, I went to Denver and went to the Rockies, and then the next week I went to Washington D.C. For the
Ooh.
Nationals. So I like, it was like bam, 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 all right back, and those were all 3 new stadiums for me. But so the Rockies was one of the ones that was on my list that I was like, I have to go see. It was really nice. It was a gorgeous stadium. But my all-time favorite is Oracle Park in San Francisco.
Oh, yes.
I'm
Yes.
telling you, the most magical place. I swear. I got there like so early when I went because it was a solo trip for me, so I went by myself.
Nice.
And I just like went there and I was just in amaze. I had my mouth. I was like, this is the most beautiful place on earth. And I walked around that stadium probably 15 times. I was just making loops. I was like, this is amazing. And
No.
it was a Dodgers versus the Giants. So it was like a good crowd. It was fun. And I'm telling you, one of the best experiences. It was like my all-time favorite stadium.
I love that note. And I've been there and I love the kayakers. Like, that's probably my favorite part of it is like, and like, as soon as the ball goes over, it's like, they're like, we're on. And they just like, they race out to get it. And I'm like, it's just so fun. And like, when we went, my mom went with me and we sat up like super high. So
Mhm.
super cool though, because you could look out and see. And like, also they had great food. That was probably my favorite food of any stadium I've ever been to, no matter the sport. Like, their food was amazing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it like you said, even sitting up, because I sat up real high, and it was just gorgeous. Like everything about it was just like drop dead gorgeous. Like there was not like a bad spot in that stadium. And like you said, food. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Right. All right. So out of the ones you haven't been to, where do you want to go the most?
I want to go to San Diego. That's one of the ones I'm dying to go to.
Okay, so I haven't been to San Diego I haven't been inside the stadium, but I used to have to go a lot for work. And I found the last work trip I took before COVID hit to San Diego, we stayed at this Marriott that was like right outside of the stadium, and they have a rooftop bar. And so we got there early and we sat on the edge and you could see it. And so like I have all these pictures and stuff like after the game of the fireworks, but like we were looking down into the stadium so we could see the whole thing. And it looks so cool. And like we went down afterwards and like all the people were walking around and it was so much fun. So yeah, that's definitely on my bucket list to go back and see a game in the stadium.
Yeah.
And then maybe like the next night go back up to the rooftop bar and watch it from there.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, no, that's definitely on my list because I've heard just so many positive things about that stadium. Like every and like everything, everybody that's ever told me anything, they're like, you gotta go. Like it's like, tell me that. So like that's my top one. That's the one that I want to go to next football season is that one. That's on my list.
All right. I like that. All right. So, I mean, look, I love baseball. Don't get me wrong, but y'all, we're in the middle of college and NFL. So let's switch gears a little bit. So let's talk about trips and college football. Have y'all been to any this year?
Yes.
Ooh, where'd you go?
Yeah. So we've only been to Ole Miss games.
No, we went to a Miami.
Oh,
Oh,
so we
oh,
did do that. Okay, so we went to the kickoff weekend. We went to Miami, and I don't always associate the University of Miami because they play in the NFL stadium.
yeah, in the Dolphin
So
Stadium.
we
Yeah,
live like 5 miles from there.
nice.
And so we were like, hey, like we're not going to be at Ole Miss, like we're not going to be able to go, so like let's just go and watch them. It was a great time. It rained, like
We had our little rain jackets.
we had our little rain jackets on. It was a nice little atmosphere. There was a ton of people. It was so different. Like how everybody was dressed was so different because it's like outside, like it's hot in the middle of Miami.
Oh
Like
God, yeah. If we think Mississippi's humid, it has
no,
nothing on Miami.
It's so funny though, because that was our first time. Because like
Yeah.
we're used to going to Ole Miss games, and even like the LSU games we went to, we always
Yeah.
dressed up. We always had makeup on. We dressed in nice clothes. We went to this game in like some like Nike shorts and like a tank top.
Yeah.
And we
Yes.
both had no makeup on. Her hair was pulled up because it was raining. And everybody else was like that too. We were
Yeah.
like, it's so funny to see how different the atmosphere
Yeah.
is in that.
And I'm
type of
assuming
way.
no tailgating.
We did not
We didn't
tailgate.
I mean,
Okay.
they did. They were out there in that hurricane storm tailgating, and I was like, kudos to y'all.
Yeah, we just drove up, parked, and but they definitely have a good tailgating atmosphere. It's different from our tailgating. They tailgate
Yeah.
back of their cars and stuff and trucks and everything, which is
Which
cool.
like actually,
which is
Yeah, it's actual tailgating. Yeah.
what we do. I think it's cool that they're able to do it. I do think it kind of stinks for their students because
yes,
their campus is about 30 miles.
yeah. Well, it's not. It's about a 30-40 minute drive.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which, like I was telling Megan, if I chose, I would not want to go to a school
Yeah.
that because there's something so nice about being like a freshman,
Yeah.
being on campus and walking to the game, then walking back to the
Yes.
dorm.
Yeah.
I'm like, none of them get to experience that. They have to bus,
Yeah.
or either find like an Uber or drive themselves, which
It's dangerous. It's
just
not good.
It's not a good.
No. Well, and even like Georgia Tech, like they can even walk to their stadium.
Yeah.
Like even though it's in the middle of downtown, like they
Yeah.
can still at least walk there. So yeah, that stinks for them.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for them in that way because then it also affects like the atmosphere of the stadium because
Yeah.
all the students
Yeah.
congregate at the frat houses, so they all go and watch the games at the frats. So so your students are staying on campus watching the games there, and so then there's not much of a student fan base, like because that's what's fun about college football is like the
Yeah.
fans and the students being in there watching.
Oh yeah.
But you don't have that type of vibe there, and I feel like
Oh gosh.
it hurt them too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to your point too about like dressing up and stuff, like I think I witnessed that at Tulane. Like it was
Yeah.
hot as hell at Tulane this year, but like I had on like a jersey and like a cute little skirt, like,
Yeah.
and we woke up and there's literal girls from Tulane in like bikini tops and cut off shorts. And I was like, oh, this is not what I'm used to. And it wasn't even like what they used to wear when they were playing in the Superdome. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa, y'all have fully changed how you do all of this. Like, it was just so weird to me. So yeah, I get that feeling of it's a little different.
Yeah.
But we're also spoiled.
Yeah.
And sorry, if anybody out there is listening and you haven't ever been to an Ole Miss game, like believe the hype that you read on ESPN and Sports Illustrated. Like it's no joke. Like
Yeah.
you will see people in their like red bottoms out there
Just
in the
wait.
middle of dirt. It's crazy.
Just wait till it gets cold. You'll see.
Oh,
you'll
God,
see
yes.
you'll see full on like meat coats. Like
Yes.
you'll see all sorts of stuff when it gets cold because everybody can bring out their luxurious like coat. Like I've seen a gown. I've seen someone in a gown
Yes.
in the Grove, and I'm like, that's a little much. But we have chandeliers in our tents. Like it's a
Yes.
thing. So
Literal.
you're right.
And people will hook up like electricity to them or
Yes.
put candles in them. Like it's crazy, y'all.
Yes.
It's yeah. I just hang Christmas lights. That's about as fancy as we're gonna get.
I mean, I
like,
think that's fine, honestly. But I mean, it could go like you can just like you could do either way, and it's so crazy too because our brother he went there as well. He went to Ole Miss as well. He just graduated,
Okay.
but his girlfriend runs the tent for the law school, and the planning that goes into that. Like we don't run our own tent. We don't do all that. Like we just kind of have friends and we go. Like hearing what she has to like order, what she has to set up months in advance. Like it is, if you've never been, or if you have been, like just knowing like what it takes to have like that atmosphere is so incredible. Like, and also I just, I think it's so interesting, like that dynamic.
Yeah, it's definitely like a mini wedding reception every single weekend, especially when you're talking like cookies and cakes. Like to me, that's the hardest thing to find. You can always order some chicken fingers somewhere, right? Like Chick-fil-A. Somebody's always going to eat some Chick-fil-A if we really need it. But yeah, it's insane how much planning you do have to do. And yeah, it's crazy. So okay, favorite college place you've been that's not Ole Miss?
Great shoe, Death Valley.
Oh, okay. I mean, why did I know that was coming from Mallory at that point?
I do like Death Valley. I think it's probably one of my top three. I think if you are an Ole Miss fan, or if you're an SEC fan, or college football fan in general, like you need to go to Ole Miss and LSU. Like those two are the top for me in regards to the SEC. I'm trying to think of anywhere else I've enjoyed going.
Yes, that's the key.
I mean, I would probably say LSU as well. I've gone to A&M. I cannot stand A&M. I am so sorry if you're a listener. I'm sure I have a friend who is a diehard, went to A&M. I've told her we were sitting up at the top of A&M at one point.
Oh.
Commentators were like, hey, or not the commentators, but a voice came across and was like, just so you know, there are bats up here and don't touch the bats. And you're just like, why are there bats?
No,
like,
not going to touch the bats.
Why? Like,
no.
That was one of my, like, I enjoyed Vanderbilt but we played at the Titan Stadium when I went. So like, I don't think that counts. And then, I'm trying to think of another one that I don't go to Starkville. So
yeah, I've never been to Starkville, and I've never been to LSU either.
Auburn's
sadly,
pretty.
Auburn's pretty. Auburn is very pretty. I do like their tailgating. I love Tennessee's tailgating. It's definitely very different than Ole Miss.
Yeah.
They also don't have to hide their beer. They literally just bring in their case of beer with like no trash bag or anything draped over it, which come on, Ole Miss, like it's 2023. We're all drinking. Like, let's just throw that out there. But yeah, sitting up at the top of the Tennessee Stadium, Neyland, I'm not sure what the pronunciation of it is. I'm sure actually, I know about two people who are listening to this that will tell me how to pronounce it. So sorry, y'all. That's scary as hell.
Yeah.
I was like, if I fall off of this, like I'm gone forever. Goodbye. Like not ever finding me again. But that was a cool atmosphere. Bama in 2015 was a lot of fun. It was not fun leaving. I'm
sure. I'm not. Yeah.
I had to be very, very quiet. And then we got in my mom's car and screamed like wild banshees. It was great. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like Georgia Tech was fun. It's a very pretty campus. We went last year.
Yeah, same.
We're going back to Georgia this year.
Ooh, I would like to go to that. Like that.
Yeah.
Fun. Like,
yeah. I went to the Georgia Ole Miss games back in like the Ed Orgeron era.
Yeah.
It was not a whole lot of fun for me. I'm sure it was for Georgia fans, but it wasn't for me. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to go back there. So are y'all going anywhere else this year, or is that kind of it for y'all? Just Oxford? Oh no, no, that's okay.
There we go. Okay, so what are we doing for the rest of the year?
Well, Gunner's going to the Georgia game.
Yeah, our brother's going to the Georgia game.
Okay.
But I don't think...
I'm going to the LSU Florida game in Baton Rouge. So I'm going to that one. I know, I'm excited.
I'm unfortunate. I don't think I'm going to anything crazy this year unless we go to a cool bowl. I don't think it's... I'm kind of busy with work, so I'm just going to Ole Miss the next few times. I'm going to A&M at least, and a couple in November. Like I guess the Louisiana one that we play.
ULM.
ULM, yeah.
The weekend before the Egg Bowl.
Yes, the Egg Bowl. Yeah.
The one that I will have to watch on mute so I don't have to listen to the cowbells the whole
I
game.
can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. So I will
Yeah, I
say
can't
that
either.
was, I will say it's really fun switching off because now we don't have to worry about going this year.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
you know,
I know. I think my mother-in-law will be happy since we won't be at the game and can be
Yeah.
at her house for Thanksgiving. So,
Yeah.
but we better be done so I can be home and watching.
I get that.
So that's my only thing.
Yep.
Awesome. So, okay. So what I really, really wanted to talk about, because this is going to sound so weird, but I feel like it's such a cool moment of being like, yeah, I was there. So NFL trip wise, y'all were in Cincinnati for
Yes.
the Bills game last year when Damar Hamlin had his episode.
Yes.
How crazy was that? And how like
I'm getting
sombering
goosebumps.
almost. Yeah. Like
I'm
I have
getting
goosebumps just talking about it. Like,
Just saying, we've talked about this. Like, it was such a humbling, and like, you go to those games because you want to go and have fun. You want to go, but you forget how dangerous the sports can be sometimes. And so you're watching, and it wasn't a bad hit. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him because like my brain didn't process it, but I remember seeing his hair. And I remember seeing his hair get up. And so I was like, he's fine, he's up. And then I didn't see him fall back down. And so we're just sitting there and I'm like, it wasn't a bad hit, but I was on Twitter, as you know, I'm on Twitter a lot.
Because we had no clue.
Yeah,
what was
we had
going
no
on.
idea.
So like I was sitting there and I remember Gunnar, because I didn't see it. I was like looking away.
Yeah.
And I turned over, I was like, oh gosh, I hope it's not something like bad with his leg. And then Gunnar was like, no, it's not his leg. And then I said, oh gosh, I hope it's something bad with his leg.
Yeah.
Because they were out there, and we were like, no one was saying anything. Like we had no clue, because we were at a lower level, so we weren't at a top level.
Yeah.
So we couldn't see above. So we were like on the other side, and we just saw them circling. I saw Stephon Diggs just throwing his helmet and just like on his knees crying.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh,
when I saw the opposing teams, PTs, when I saw like they started sprinting to him, I'm like, oh God, because like a lot of the times they will, if like, you know, certain things happen. And so, but like the way that they all reacted, I saw one girl literally, she deserved the award herself.
Like, girl,
she was carrying bags and she was running so hard she fell and literally hit her face on the ground and got back up immediately and sprinted to it. So that's how we kind of knew. And once we saw the ambulance, we were like, oh my gosh. And I think one of the people around us saw them doing compressions, or at least heard about the compressions.
Twitter.
I saw it on Twitter. Yeah.
On Twitter. Okay. That's how we found out. Because I was messaging people who were watching the game, and I was like, what's going on? Because like I said, none of us knew. So we had to have people tell us.
Yeah.
And then at that point, everyone was crying.
We were all
everybody was praying. It was really sweet though. It was like, because everyone, like even the Bengals and everybody was like, they were all like praying with us, and like,
and no one was upset. Like no one was like, we didn't want them to continue the game. Like none of us, like we, like you go and spend all this money going, you want to watch a game, but like we were all so proud of the coaches for making that decision as a group and as a group of like fans. We were like, I can't speak for every fan, but I can speak for the people around us.
Yeah.
We were so just upset that like we just couldn't even imagine them playing again. And so like it was just like, it was so. And then you go out and you leave the stadium and you hear his family was there, you hear his poor mother was there, you hear all this stuff, and you hear about, you know, Stephon going to the hospital immediately, like, you know, it just was like. And then you go and you listen to some of these commentators, and like I forgot the commentator's name, but the ESPN guy who literally was like, look, like I'm going to pray on live TV right now. And like all the other commentators were like, do it, man. Like this is like the time to do it. And like just this whole just like group of people coming together, like, and just like, you know, whatever your religious beliefs are, just having just the thought of just like, hey, like this man is here for, you know, doing something for our enjoyment. And he is like, he could die. And so like, I think, and it's funny too, because like we were so happy when everything came out and stuff, but we were at a game recently.
And I've had it happen to me like 2 or 3 times, and I still like we were at a soccer game. We were at the Messi soccer game.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm crying too.
God, I know. I'm like over here crying. So my streak of crying on this show is it's there, y'all. It's still happening.
Yeah. But we were at the Messi soccer game, and someone got hurt, and
we both freaked out.
That was our first time being at a live game with someone getting hurt. And the people were running on the field.
Yeah.
And I grabbed Meagan, and like there's just like a pit in my stomach. And I was like, is he okay? Is he okay? And I'm asking the guy next to me. I grabbed the guy. I'm like, is he gonna be okay? Is he okay? And like you kind of don't realize, like, even us, like I went to another baseball game too. And there was a weird play, and one of the pitchers got from the first baseman was trying to throw to third, hit the pitcher in the face, and he rolled over and was like kind of shaking his body and like almost like kind of like seizing. And I turned white and was asking. I was like, "Is he?" And I couldn't talk, and it just like freaked me out because like we experienced that, and now every time someone gets hurt, like I go into panic mode because I'm like, I don't want to see that ever again.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the trauma response, and that sounds so dramatic.
Dramatic, but
you can't control that, and like you're sitting there, and your whole body just is like, oh my gosh, I may watch someone die on this field. And it's just like something that's like very, very sad that you would think that. But after that, it just like, it doesn't get, it's gotten a little better, but still we both have to, like, even my mom and brother have to be like, oh my God, are they going to be okay? So it's not just us like dealing with it, but it was a lot.
But
no, and I think, that's a good point too. Like my mom was actually at the game when Chucky Mullins got hurt. And, talking to her kind of about it. Cause I mean, I was at home watching the whole Damar Hamlin thing happen. And it was like, I remember just sitting there and like, it was just like he dropped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just like, it wasn't even like a collapse. It was just like a straight back, like like he passed out, like kind of thing. And he just like fell straight backwards. And then I was sitting there and I was like, that wasn't I thought the same thing. I was like, it wasn't a bad hit. Like what happened? And then it's like when you do see everybody rushing and then they start cutting away. And then you're right. Like the ESPN commentators, like they're not saying a word.
Yeah.
It's silent.
And and then it's like they were talking about how they weren't like canceling out the crowd noise because there was no crowd noise.
When I tell you, like we've talked about it, it's like almost someone took our breath away. Mm-hmm. We all just kind of sat there and we were like, and it was like, cause
for a long time,
it was.
Well, and like, I know this is going to sound so bad, but like, okay, something's bad, something like that's happening. But like, you're right. When they pull the ambulance out onto the field like that, like normally they'll put them up on that like little John Deere tractor thing, the gator, and like take them to the ambulance. But buddy, with the hundreds of thousands of dollars that they spend on that grass, like someone's life is worth more than whatever they put into that grass. So when they did that, I was like, oh crap.
And then you see like all of the players, all of the coaches, all of like you saw like Joey B, you saw all of them in Cincinnati come over and like just huddle, and you're like, oh no, like not like because like you're in a competition, so like you're like,
right.
And when they're hugging and crying with
when you see the Cincinnati players hugging like the Bills players praying with them or just standing here with them, like like because like you said, like when you see a hit, sometimes you would see like, okay, I could understand that. And like the only thing I can relate that to is when I wasn't very old, but my dad talks about when Dale Earnhardt died.
Yeah.
And like that's the only thing comparison wise is that like it wasn't a bad wreck. It wasn't something that like was crazy, and he just ended up dying. And I do remember my dad's reaction to it because he was a huge Dale fan, and so like he was like it wasn't even a bad like wreck, like what the heck. But just sometimes that can happen, and you don't want to see either one.
No, God no. Well, and I think too, it was kind of one of those moments for me, especially sitting at home watching it, imagining what it would be like, because I have seen hits before where like they don't move and it's just because they're knocked out cold. Well, that's a little different than being like literally their heart stopping. That's a very different thing. But even with that, it was like, it kind of pissed me off. And I went on a little bit of a Twitter rant of like Roger Goodell, like y'all call this game right now. Like, what do you like? You expect Joey Burrow to go back out there and line up against the Bills defense and throw a touchdown over them? Like, if the Bills defense just stood up and stood there and didn't move, what's he supposed to do? Like, to me, that really pissed me off about Roger Goodell, along with about a million other things that he has done during his tenure. But like, you're right. Like
I'm just so proud of the coaches.
The coaches,
like,
the coaches and the players being like, no.
Right. The respect I have for those two head coaches to be like Sean.
Oh, no, you're good. We'll edit that out too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just the coaches just being like, Sean, like just like having that,
there's just no way you could play.
There's not.
There's just no emotional. Like I said, I don't think I'll ever forget, because I was watching Stephon Diggs and I was like, I don't.
Oh God, yeah.
Because he's a very emotional, shows his emotions and stuff. I don't think I'll ever forget his reaction. And like I said,
calling
you're
me,
fine.
Doing all of this.
Me.
You're good.
Sorry, he's like, what's going on?
We're fine, I promise.
Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, here we go. We're good. Sorry.
No, you're good.
But yeah, just seeing like all of their reactions and like, seeing all of that, like, again, the respect for the coaches, I just can't say enough to just put their foot down for their players. That's what you look for in a coach, especially someone at that high level. And I think Sean and the Cincinnati head coach did a really good job. So
yeah, and I think too, we even kind of saw something similar like last year with the Virginia football players getting shot, something that wasn't even happening on the field, but like those are your brothers out there. And I know if Meagan, if you've listened to this, that's my big thing. Like at the end of the day, like, sports are fun. And I feel like you two are like the best example of like sports are fun and it's like a bonding experience and it's whatever you want it to be. Right. But like at the end of the day, that's still a human being out there. Yes. And you can never forget that. Like you can never take that human element out of sports. So like bringing it back to that, like, I kind of hate to say it, but I feel like as a sporting world, something like that needed to happen to wake everybody up.
For sure.
And like, I got asked a lot after the experience, like a lot of people, because people knew that we traveled from so far to come watch the game and took the time to watch the game. Everybody's like, aren't you upset? And my response, absolutely not. Am I upset? I said, I just want the man to survive it. Like, I mean, that's for the Bills are my team. I want my player to be okay. I was like, it's not like anything. Like I don't mind that I spent the money to just come up here for hotels or flights or whatnot. I just want my guy okay.
Yeah.
Like,
and like everybody's like, you're not upset. I'm like, no, I'm not upset.
I'm upset he got hurt.
I'm upset that he got hurt, but I'm not upset that I missed a game. No. It's a game.
Right.
It's
right.
More
like, like I can make more money. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if he had died, that's it. Like, there's no coming back. Like, it's like, and that's someone's child. I mean, like y'all said, like his parents were there. Like, they literally watched their child drop.
Yeah.
I mean, and someone have to bring him back. Like, that's not. No, that's I'll throw away my money for that to know that their son's going to be okay later on. Like, no, it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. And for all the listeners, go get CPR certified. I'm like, everybody needs to know. I mean, after that, like, that was my big thing. Like, everybody needs to be aware in case something like this ever happens.
Yes.
To be certified, so you can help in a situation like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things he's doing right now with his foundation, isn't it? Like, pushing getting CPR certified and getting AEDs put into places. So
they should be everywhere. So,
I will actually link his foundation to the blog post for this week because you're right. I think that you don't ever know. What if you're stuck in traffic one day and the reason is because someone's in their car having a heart attack? Right. I mean, and you're the person there, like, or you're at work or in the grocery store, like, just always be ready, guys.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, now that we're through the heavy, right? Like, and like I said, I just thought it was such a cool story because y'all do travel so much and like you were just going to go to that game. And then the biggest story in the past probably 20, 30 years in sports happens right in front of you.
Yeah.
So college football, anything you kind of want to see Mallory, like your Tigers destroyed the other Tigers last night. Like, what do you think's going to happen because God, if Jesse Palmer said it one time, he said it 800,000 times last night, they play Bama, the Bama showdown. Like, yes, Jesse, we know LSU hasn't played Bama yet. So do you think LSU has a chance? What do you think you're going to see out of them for the rest of the season?
I don't know.
Look, welcome to being an Ole Miss fan too. Like,
Yeah.
we have no idea. We have no idea what team's going to show up.
I feel like it's because like going with Bama, I feel like Bama's not as strong.
Yeah.
But I say that,
But they're still winning.
They still win, and they somehow manage to pull it out. But then again, like LSU could come. I don't know.
I know.
It's very up in the air with it.
I think it's just the SEC West.
It really
I think
is.
it's just what it is before. Like, we're fixing to split into the new SEC way, but
Same girl.
we can't control it. But we will always remember the SEC West, and I think it's just truly who comes to play at that day, and that's why it makes it very difficult for any of us to make the college football playoffs the way it is structured currently, because we beat each other up. You have some of the best teams in the whole nation. Like, we're like, just factually, it's not really an opinion, it's just fact, and we beat each other up. And then other players or other teams that may not have as strong of competition goes smoothly through their whole season, and they don't have to play people like Alabama, A&M, Auburn, Arkansas, LSU, and so that is that's been my argument the whole time, is that we just beat each other up, and then we have 1 loss, 2 loss to some of these great programs, and then compared to someone who doesn't play anyone with no loss, like, it's kind of hard to get in there. So
yeah, no, I think you're right, and especially I think like watching the Pac-12, like yesterday, watching that game, like, whoa, I was like, okay, now, and don't get me wrong, like, right now, I really haven't seen a defense in the SEC West that could stop. But like, again, we're doing that back and forth every single game, every single week. Even Bama, Arkansas, they were back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So like, I think you're right. Like, even if our defenses aren't as strong, I don't know that it's necessarily that as much as like maybe the offenses have just evolved to that point, and they're so creative now. So yeah, I don't know. My personal take is that like the SEC West is truly the wild, wild west right now. Like, there's so many scenarios to who can go to Atlanta still. It's crazy. Like, I don't even want to dive into them. Yeah. Like, it's insane.
I mean, it's just like, it's difficult too, especially being an Ole Miss fan, because it's just like, we have the team just like I feel like every year we have the team, and then something happens, or we lose a game we shouldn't, or, stuff like that, or what we say we shouldn't, and, I think it's just like truly who comes to play, and do you fall on like, is this off week going to hurt us? Like, and that's what I always think about an off week, is that, we have good momentum, and we're going to go in, and I worry about it. And like, I mean, come on, we're going to play Georgia, and at some point that is,
that's huge. Playing Georgia is not going to be easy.
That's scary.
Like, I know. Well, and two, I mean, to the point, like, off weeks. Okay. So Auburn had an off week going into LSU. Like, I'm sure they thought they were way more prepared. Heck, going back to baseball, the Orioles had their off week, and look what happened to them. They got swept. Like, off weeks. Well, I will say this. There's a whole other show probably about like off weeks between baseball and football. But off weeks, man, like, you think you're rested, but like, at what point does that slow you down? Like, you're too rested. So you just never know.
Yeah. So that's the problem. Like, I mean, I understand the reason for off weeks. You need it to rest. You need it to get back. But like, also, if it's coming in a momentous part of your season, like, that can be very almost a hindrance at one point, but I just think I think at the end, the teams will come out who need to come out. Hopefully it's ours. Who knows if it will be? Who knows who will? I think this is one of the first seasons where I'm like, I honestly don't know. And
Same.
We'll see.
Same. And I've had Bama friends tell me like, hey, y'all go to Athens and beat Georgia so y'all can show us that they're beatable. And I'm like, y'all are acting like you're going to make it there. Like, you may not. Like, I know, but I mean, that's Bama for you. Sorry to all the Bama fans listening, but y'all know the Bama fans I'm talking about. They don't think y'all are just going to waltz into Atlanta, but y'all do have LSU coming up, and you do have Auburn, who will for real show up and play that game. Like,
Yes.
I
just
mean,
like
we
with
have-
any rivalry game, you never know.
Yeah, like same with us. Like, I mean,
Oh, God, yeah.
we have so many coming up. Like, I mean, we have Auburn against a former head coach.
There's just no easy.
That's never going to be easy.
No.
A&M is never easy ever.
No.
You know, Georgia's not going to be easy. You know,
And then the Egg Bowl, like State's
mean,
going to play us
come on,
like it's the Super Bowl.
every year it's the same way. But the good thing is, you know, we have
Vandy even too.
Oh,
Vandy will
yeah.
show up and play
Yeah.
hard against us.
Yeah, we never have it easy with any of
No.
those. And so that's that's what's going to be interesting about the next few weeks in football and our team.
Yeah.
So
I know it's so okay. So I think LSU has this coming weekend off, correct? I think LSU has this weekend off because Bama's hosting Tennessee,
Okay.
and then they go on the road to LSU. I think is what it is. I think. I don't know. I finally just tuned Jesse Palmer out after the 800th time, and he said it so many times I've now forgotten where they play. I just know they're playing.
they tend to do that. Commentators tend to do that.
God, well, yeah, I feel like we need a whole show of just talking about like him and Greg McElroy and Jordan Rogers and Cole Kublik.
I have a few games a lot of the times.
Same.
We can't.
Same. Yeah. Cody will look at me and be like, "Didn't you just say that like 5 minutes ago?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did."
Yeah.
We
Like,
mute all sports.
It's so funny.
We can mute baseball. Like me and Kyle Peterson, we got beef, man. Like
No, they really do. Like Mallory will beef with Kyle on Twitter, and he'll respond
Yes.
sometimes. And
stop.
like Mallory.
Oh, heck yeah.
during COVID, I tweeted, Kyle, I'm just telling you to shut up. And he like quotes me and he was like, sounds about right.
We have our
Yes.
own beef with Kyle Peterson. We believe he likes Mississippi State better, and we can't take that. We can't have that in this household. So
No.
we are not a big Kyle Peterson fan, but
Any commentator, I'm ready.
any
to go all the
commentator.
time. I'm like, stop. Talking.
Same.
we've literally had so much fun because Mallory has literally been like, we need to commentate our own version of baseball and football. And when she
Yes.
does that, tell her your grand idea.
I feel like we would give the people what they actually want.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
we would tell the ladies, like, ladies listening in, these men are single.
These are
No.
his Instagram's handles.
No, you're not wrong because, like, why do we think so many women are now paying attention? Because Taylor Swift's on the broadcast. Like, yes, we know. Like, I'm going to give you the fact. Hey, he was, married to so-and-so. They got a divorce. They have 3 kids, but don't worry. Like, it wasn't because he cheated. It's this. By the way, he now leads the NFL and blah, blah.
Yes,
Like, we could give the best of both worlds. Yes.
People want that. Like people,
Yes.
like I want that. Like I don't know if everyone wants that, but when I say people, I mean me. I want that. Like I want to know the tea on this person, but I also want to know his stats because I understand stats. So like, yeah, I want
Same.
to know that if he's going 400 or whatever, but also if he's dating the gymnast over there. Like I want to know these things. Like
Agreed. I feel like it's why the Manning cast has actually done so well because Peyton and Eli are really good at like breaking it down for just the everyday fan. But then like, if you've never watched it, you know that like Jimmy Kimmel's going to come on and they're going to laugh and have fun. And then you know that Peyton's going to literally go through his check downs at some point wearing a helmet and Eli's going to make fun of his big head. And you know kind of what you're getting, but you're getting that more entertainment value, which baseball definitely needs. God, baseball needs to be more entertaining because I have a hard time watching baseball at home. Like it's so hard.
I do too.
But football.
I find baseball easier just because I find all of them so attractive. So
you should be sitting here with Mallory. Like Mallory's the funniest person because you take her to a baseball game and like she's like looking so cute, like got all the cute pics and everything. But she'll whip out her like friggin' stats card, like her scorebook, and like just start doing it. And all these old men come up to her and they're like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm keeping the stats."
I have like a list. I'm like, I know a man's gonna say something to me. I'm sitting I know a man's gonna
every time, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And she'll tell them, and they're like, "That's so impressive. That's so cool. You know how to do that." Like all this stuff. And she's like, "It keeps me entertained." So Mallory will literally be there, like, looking at these men, being like, okay, he's cute. Wonder if he's single. What's he doing? While also knowing how they're doing.
I'm like, looking up, I'm like, all right, well, he's 0 for 3, but I mean, he's still single. He's cute. He's working.
Like, I wonder if like he and his girlfriend are going through a breakup, and that's why I went 0 for 3. Like,
we literally have been doing that. Like when Josh Allen broke up with his girlfriend, like right before that, we were like, oh, he's having issues. I wonder if his relationship is having issues. And then they go and break up, and he's popping off because he's dating Haley Steinfeld, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, well now he's doing good. Like, like good for him. Like we knew all the tea on it because we were very much into it. But that's,
hey, again, they're people too. They have lives, including social lives. I mean, come on. I'm here for it. And y'all, I promise y'all, maybe we need to start like the M Cubed network or something. And we just all three get on there and just start commentating.
I would love that. It would be so much fun. Like
dude,
big games,
Yeah.
like
hell yeah.
Games, like,
dude, we'd be way more entertaining on the Super Bowl podcast, like commentating live. And then be quiet during the halftime show and then come back on and like, give the people what they want.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I completely agree. I think it needs to be more of that than, I told mom and them, I heard like them ask like Holly Rowe. I love Holly Rowe.
I do too.
What did you get down on the field? And it's always the same like combination of stuff Holly will say. Well, the coach said they need to get into gear, or like, hey, they need to score the next.
This is what they've been working for.
Some of the stuff that our head coach will say to them, like Lane, some of the stuff Lane will say to those commentators, I'm like, Lane, do you know how funny you sound right now? Like, yeah, we need to score next half. Like,
no shit, Sherlock.
Like, thank you for that. And I know he's doing it as a smart ass because that's just how he is. And so just like I catch you. I see what you're doing. Like, you're like, yeah, we really need to get our defense going. Yeah, no shit. They've scored 24 points on us. Like, that is such a like, I feel so bad because I think Holly Rowe is such a good commentator and good broadcaster that literally will have her on the field and she'll be like, wow, they really need to score. And you're like, wow, Holly, like,
thanks for that breaking news. Yeah. So for her specifically, like, I love watching her do women's basketball because the women's basketball coaches will literally go over and be like, well, they're in this prevent defense and and so needs to hit more free throws. And I mean, they start going through it and Holly's like back and forth with them. I'm like,
with the college world softball. Like, she's great with softball. She knows her stuff. And like,
she is.
She's very knowledgeable and we love her very much and all that. But just sometimes with football, they'll just throw her a lob. And you're like, she's such a better, she's such a better broadcaster and commentator than that. So like, it's just like,
it's just part of the whole thing of like, they put, and I am not this, but they put the cute blondes down on the field and they're on their little stilettos walking around. First of all, if you're on grass and stilettos, congratulations for not falling. But if you do, I hope like I'm getting it on camera and then I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Like they've just never, I think they've always just been thrown those questions because for so long, ESPN and Fox and everybody just wanted to put the cute girls out there to get people to watch. That's why the NFL's latching onto the Taylor Swift part. Like, it's so, it's like,
that is so true. And then they went, and they did their like, their massive like firings and all of that. And like some of those included the women that's been there for like 20 something years. And you're just like,
where did Susie Colbert go? Why did you get rid of
Susie? Like, I
love her.
I did too. That's why I'm like, I was so shocked at it because I was just like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, it was interesting, to see that. But yeah, I just think funny, though, some of it's funny.
Like they asked the Dolphins coach the other day. He was like, what did you do to change this? This is whatever. He's like, he looked at him, he's like, I didn't do anything. They took off running. I love this man.
Which I love him too with his like vape pen on the sideline.
I think it's so fun.
Live your best 30-something-year-old life there, dude. Like, you go do it.
He's
like,
so funny.
Good for you. I know, he's hilarious.
Hilarious.
All right, well, I know it's Sunday night and we all got to go get ready for work tomorrow, which sucks. But I want to end on one question. Okay. And it's not, are you ready? Because I think I know that answer. And with y'all, it's always, hell yes, damn right, we are.
Yeah.
But if you had a walkout song, what would it be?
Well, we did have walkout songs. We played softball growing up. And so we did have walkout songs. And I'm going to go back to my senior year walkout song because that's the easiest one for me. Pour Some Sugar on Me. That is
Nice.
that song. So, Mal.
Gosh, I would probably do something like random and crazy. Probably like Axel Frog. Ding ding.
Yes.
Annoy everyone.
I like that. I like the ones where it's like, what the hell?
What
Like I
about
also
you?
think oh man. Mine changes from day to day. But right now I'm probably or I'd say I'm probably stuck on ski. Just because that's like the most white girl southern way to say it too.
That.
But like when they did the drone show at Ole Miss during the Arkansas game and they were playing that, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like I feel like I'm 800 years old out here seeing like some lights in the sky. But it was so fun to watch the players get pumped up. So yeah, but there's some days where I'm like some rage music or like, a little like big pimpin' or something. You never know. So
the trumpets that they sometimes play at the football that the what was it Diaz, the Edwin Diaz guy had.
Oh yeah.
Closer for the Mets.
That one was good.
That one's a good one. The trumpet.
That one is good.
There's so many different options you could go with. Like you said,
absolutely.
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
Like, and I used to think it's so fun looking at different like baseball players and stuff and be like, all right, he needs a song that relaxes him. He needs one that hypes him up. This one that needs this. It's interesting to see.
Oh yeah. Like I will always remember Desperado.
Oh,
like now that it comes on, I'm like, every time I hear Rihanna, I'm like, Desperado.
I'm like,
Sitting in I know.
I get mad when other people will have it too. Like, I'm like, that is Justin Bench's song. How dare you? Are not Desperado. Like, how
I know. Or like, I heard somebody else have Magic Stick, and I was like, that is TJ McCants. Don't you ever do that.
Ever do that.
Which also having to explain that song to my mom was that was something.
It's amazing. That is amazing.
So awesome. Well, I know this is not the last time y'all are going to be on. Y'all are way too much fun.
Thank you so much for having us.
No, seriously. Yeah. So Mallory, are you going to be at the Texas A&M game too?
What weekend is that?
November 4th.
I don't think
maybe. I thought about it.
Okay. Well, I now have a little portable mic that I can take with me, and there's a long story behind it. So if you are, like, we have to sit down at some point that weekend in the Grove with a beverage and, like, do a little live kind of thing.
That.
So
that would be a lot of fun.
Amazing.
Yes. All right. Well, y'all have a wonderful night. Thank y'all so much for joining in. For all of my listeners, hang tight, and we'll be right back after this. Editing was okay. I was also using a new app, so if the editing was bad, that's life. Like, life is not perfect. Neither is my editing, and my husband is still kind of recovering from Japan. So it is what it is. Y'all deal with it. I don't make millions of dollars, and I can't pay someone to do it. So y'all get to just enjoy it. Anyway, for today's Don't Flinch, and then we'll wrap up really, really fast. So last night, I got to go to the Huntsville Quarterback Club with a friend of ours that we met at our local watering hole. It's called Rosie's. We love Rosie's. If you're from Huntsville or North Alabama, you know Rosie's. Best Mexican or Tex-Mex, really. It's not true Mexican. Great Tex-Mex, though. But our friend Kathy, her husband Tom, they're amazing. They both just retired, so shout out to Kathy and Tom for that. But they are members of the Huntsville Quarterback Club. Tom went to the Jacksonville State game where they ended up winning last night in the last seconds, basically. So they came out on top. But Tom had a boys' night. Kathy had to go to Huntsville Quarterback Club. It was girls' night, and it was girls' nights
because Candace Storey Lee was the speaker. And if you know Candace Storey Lee, you know she is one of 5 female athletic directors in the Power 5, basically in FBS, which is what we all know as Division 1. She's amazing. She's a Huntsville native. She works at Vanderbilt. So not only does she know sports, y'all, she's smart. And what a concept, right? Women can be smart and know sports and be the boss of men and run athletics departments. And she's the embodiment of it. So in tonight's Don't Flinch, I asked her last night, did she think that being an athlete before she became an athletic director, being a Black female, helped her? And her answer was awe-inspiring, made me cry. Again, I know we're all shocked that I cried here, but she said basically these days, athletics, it's not the same as what we know. We used to think that athletics directors were going to be the ones who, if something happened, they needed to go draw up a play or two. Well, no longer. She was telling stories about how Vanderbilt is currently renovating their football stadium, and she's having to deal with contractors who are digging into rock and they're having to excavate things. Like, I don't know many high school football coaches who are athletic directors who can handle that, but she's brilliant. And then she also talked about the mental health aspect of her entire staff of 270 plus people and her 380 student athletes. And she understands what leading a group is, and she embodies that. And so don't flinch, because Miss Candace, she is here. She is here to make her waves. She is here to make sure that Vanderbilt has a seat at the table as an original charter member of the Southeastern Conference, y'all. Charter member. They deserve a seat at the table. No matter what you think about them in terms of sports, they are it. They are the original. Shout out to them. And she's here for it. So don't flinch, because she's going to make sure Vanderbilt is always in that national picture, always in that national talk. And they're not going to wake up one day and be one of 2 left in a conference. So that's my don't flinch moment of the week. On that note, I got a promotion at work. Work is kicking my ass. In case y'all didn't know, this is not my full-time job. I'm pretty sure you could figure that out, that this is not my full-time job. I wish it was. It would be way better quality if it was, but it's not. I say all of that to say I'm getting a little bit of a break this weekend, though. I am flying to New York City. Can't wait. The city that never sleeps. I'm going to need to sleep, though. Like, I'm closer to 40 than I would like to admit. I need to sleep. But the city that never sleeps, the concrete jungle, the home of my New York Giants, which are technically in New Jersey, but whatever. We're not going to talk about that. I am going to the Giants Commanders game. I cannot wait. All day Saturday, we're going to bar hop. We're going to watch Alabama, Tennessee. Then we're going to go watch my Rebels take on Auburn. It's going to be a fun day. Next week's episode is going to be a little different. I think it's going to have a little different flair if what I have planned actually works out. So, all of that being said, I hope you tune in. This show is so much fun for me. I hope y'all are having a blast as well. We've got a lot of good things heading your way. A lot of good female sports, softball, volleyball, rifle even. We also may have some cool things that are happening with former athletes that have gone on and lived their lives, had life happen to them. It's going to be fun. I hope y'all stick around. But in the meantime, you can always go check me and all the other podcasters out on thealabamatake.com. Don't forget, on Fridays, me, Blaine, and TD, we put in our picks for the week. 3 college games, 1 NFL game. not to brag, but I am leading right now. Don't worry, y'all. That won't last. That's just why I had to say that, because I had to at least document the fact that for 1 week I am leading. But go check us out. Maybe don't put money on us. If you do and you win money, give some back. But find all of those links at thealabamatake.com. You can always find us. Instagram at @the_stare_down_podcast. On Twitter, X, whatever the hell you call it, at the Stare Down Pod. Facebook, the Stare Down. Stare Down is one word. You can email us, thestaredownpod@gmail.com. And beyond that, you can always just leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a review. We're always here for it. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Amazon Music. It doesn't matter. Wherever you find your podcast, we're there, y'all. So, I know as soon as I hop on that plane on Friday, I'm going to do this. I'm going to sit back, relax, grab a drink or two, and listen to The Stare Down. Hell yes, damn right. Beat Auburn and go Giants. Y'all have a phenomenal weekend. Hotty toddy, y'all.